Good evening, everyone. In the last session, we discussed about what is inheritance and what is composition. So we are going to develop several applications, right? So in one application, multiple classes will be available. Some classes will play controller role. Some classes will play service layer role. Some classes will play DAO role, right? We are going to develop a project. Project is nothing but a collection of classes. Some classes will be part of web layer. Some classes will be part of service layer. Some classes will be part of DAO layer. Based on the role the classes are playing, we are dividing them into three categories. So one is Pojo class, second one is Java Bean class, and third one is component. So what is Pojo? What is Java Bean? And what is component? Ordinary Java classes, any Java class that can be compiled by using only JDK, that class is called as Pojo. Any Java class which follows Bean specification rules, that class is called as Java Bean. Any Java class which contains the business logic, that is called as component, right? So in our project, multiple classes we are going to develop. The classes are going to play multiple roles. When we develop multiple classes in the project, one class should talk to another class. That means one class method should call another class method to execute the code, to execute the requirement, right? So web layer classes will call business layer class methods. Business layer class methods will call integration layer class methods and DAO class methods. Like this, one class methods will have dependency with another class methods. So the question is how one Java class method can access another Java class method. Practically, we have seen that in the last session. One Java class method can talk to another class method in two ways. One is by using inheritance. Second one is by using composition. So we have taken two examples as well. One is car class. Another one is engine class. Okay. Car class wants to talk to engine class. If a car class directly talk to engine through inheritance or through composition, those classes will become tightly coupled. Okay, so it is not at all recommended to create the classes with the tightly coupling. It is not recommended to create the classes with the tightly coupling. You see here, I have taken a engine class. My engine class is having start method, and I have taken car class. Car class is extending from engine. So if a car class is extending the engine class, so car class can access engine class methods. In the project also, we want same thing. One class methods want to access or want to invoke another class methods. Now, if one class methods want to access another class method, either you can go for inheritance or you can go for composition. Here, if a car is extending from engine, car class can access engine class methods directly. So in the Java, as per inheritance rule, subclass methods can access superclass methods. But the problem is, if a car is extending from engine, the car class is tightly coupled with the engine. Tomorrow, if any changes happen for the engine class, then our car class will be affected. So it is not recommended to develop the classes with the inheritance like this, because Java supports only one class extending support. That means one class can extend the properties from at most only one class. Multiple inheritance is not supported. In future, my car class cannot extend the properties from any other class. And if any changes happen for the engine, then my car class will be affected. So this is not the recommended approach. What is the alternate for this? The alternate for this is has a relation. What is the meaning of has a relation? Instead of extending the properties, we can create the object and we can call the method. So if you observe, our car class is creating the object for the engine and calling the method directly. Yes, fine. If you create the object, if you call the methods, yes, your task will be completed. But what is the problem? Car class is directly creating the object for the engine. So here we are creating the object for the engine by using zero param constructor. Tomorrow, if engine class constructor is modified, then our car class will be affected. If engine class constructor is modified, then car class constructor will be affected. Got my point? So if you create the object directly like this, then your car class is directly dependent on the engine. So it is not recommended to create the object directly like this. Okay, if you want to access one class method in the another class, you can go for inheritance, you can go for composition, but both are not recommended. Okay, so then what we need to do? We need to develop our classes with loosely coupling. What is the meaning of loosely coupling? So our car class should not talk to any engine class directly. If a car class is talking to engine class directly, any changes that happen to the engine should not affect on the car. So that's where we are going to use interfaces concept. Always we need to develop our classes with loosely coupling. Okay, what is the meaning of loosely coupling? Loosely coupling means without creating object and without inheriting properties, we should be able to access one class methods in another class. One class method in another class. I want to access engine class method in the car class without creating the object, without inheriting the properties. Okay, so here we are going to use a concept called interface. When we use a concept called interface, then we can achieve the loosely coupling. My car class will extend the properties from engine class. My car class will extend the properties from my car class will refer interface iEngine. Interface is having two implementations. My car class will refer to interface, not for the petrol engine, not for the diesel engine. If a car is talking to petrol engine or if a car is talking to diesel engine, there is a tightly coupling. So I don't want my classes to be tightly coupled. I want my classes to be loosely coupled. So that's why my car class will talk to a interface. Interface reference variable I created. In the Java, we know that. Interface means we cannot create the object. Interface reference variable can hold implementation class object. Interface reference variable can hold implementation class object. iEngine ENG, it is a variable. Okay, this variable can hold any implementation class object of this interface. I just declared a variable. I have not initialized that variable. I just declared that variable. I have not initialized that variable. In this variable, what I can store? iEngine is a data type of the variable. What is the type of the variable? Variable is a interface type. That means this variable can hold any object which belongs to this interface implementation. Okay, so here iEngine is a interface. That interface is having two implementations. One is a petrol engine and the second one is a diesel engine. So this variable can take petrol engine object or diesel engine object. Now, so that is called dependency injection. Okay, instead of we are extending the properties or we are creating the object for the engine we are taking as a reference variable. This reference variable can hold any object which belongs to interface implementation. So that is called dependency injection. Okay, so today we are going to understand what is dependency injection. Guys, still we did not enter into the Spring example. I'm explaining what is dependency injection. The process of injecting one class object into another class is called as dependency injection. What is dependency injection? Car class is dependent on engine. Okay, In order to execute car class methods, we need to inject the engine object into this variable. Which engine object we can inject into this variable? This variable belongs to interface. Any class which is implementing that interface, that class object can be stored into this interface variable. For example, if you take list L is equal to, can I store array list object into L variable? Guys, is it valid or invalid? It is valid because array list is a class which is implementing list interface. Similarly, can I do like this? List L is equal to new linked list. Is it valid or invalid? This is also valid because list is a interface. That list interface can hold array list object or it can hold linked list object. Why? Because array list is implementing list interface, linked list class also implementing list interface. L is a interface reference variable. Interface reference variable can hold any implementation class object. So is it valid? List L is equal to new vector. Guys, is it valid or invalid? Third line. Third line is valid or invalid? This is also valid because vector class is also implementing list interface. Vector class is also implementing list interface. Now, if you see here, can I write like this? iEngine ENG is equal to new diesel engine. Is this valid or invalid? Guys, as per our diagram, is this code valid or invalid? iEngine ENG is equal to new diesel engine. Is it valid or invalid? It is valid. Why? Because diesel engine class is implementing iEngine interface. Okay. So similarly, we can write like this. iEngine ENG is equal to new petrol engine. This is also valid because diesel engine class is implementing iEngine interface, petrol engine class implementing iEngine interface. Interface reference variable can hold its implementation class object. It is valid. Then what is this dependency injection? The process of injecting one class object into another class object is called as dependency injection. Now, car class is dependent on engine. Which engine? Any engine which is implementing this interface. So now if I take the variable as diesel engine, then my code is tightly coupled. My car is always expecting diesel engine. Or if I write a petrol engine, my car is tightly coupled with only petrol engine. I don't want my classes to be tightly coupled. I want my classes to be loosely coupled. For that, I'm going for iEngine. Private iEngine ENG. Car is expecting engine because if you execute this program, you will get null pointer exception. Why? I have not initialized the variable. I have just declared the variable. Whenever we create object for the car class, this variable will be initialized with the default value as null. Null dot start, it will give null pointer exception. Okay. So when one class is dependent on another class, we need to perform dependency injection. So what is dependency injection? The process of injecting one class object into another class is called as dependency injection. Are you guys able to understand what is dependency injection? The process of injecting one class object into another class is called as dependency injection. Are you clear with my voice, everyone? Are you clear with my voice? Is my voice clear for everybody? Someone saying that voice is not audible. You should not face any problem today because yesterday There was an issue with the network, but today there is no issue with the network. I came back to Hyderabad. Right? Yeah. So what is dependency injection? The process of injecting one class object into another class is called as dependency injection. Now if I say, can I say car is dependent on engine? Because here engine is just a reference variable. No object is stored in the engine. Okay. Here I have a car class. In the car class, I have a engine variable. So now, without storing the value to this variable, can I execute the drive method? If I execute the drive method without storing the value to this variable, then I will get null pointer exception here. Because whenever we create an object for the car class, instance variables will be initialized with the default values. Here eng is an instance variable. Its data type is iEngine. Okay. So now for this reference variable, the default value will be null. Default value will be null. Whenever we create object for the car and whenever we call the drive method, we are going to get null pointer exception. See, car class object I am creating. Whenever the object is created for a class, all the instance variables will be initialized with the default value. Eng variable value will be null. Null dot method, you will get a null pointer exception. Run as a Java application. Sorry. I executed as run on server. It's not a server application. It is normal Java application. Right click, run as Java application. So whenever I execute this program, I'm getting null pointer exception. Do you guys understand why we are getting null pointer exception? Car class object is created, drive method is called. Inside the drive method, I'm calling eng.start method. Eng is a variable which does not have any initialization. So it will be initialized with the default value. The default value is null. Null dot start, null pointer exception. Are you clear? Are you clear? Why we are getting null pointer exception here? Yes. Now, how to avoid that null pointer exception, guys? Can you tell me how can we avoid that null pointer exception? Eng variable is a null value it is holding. Eng is a variable. That variable does not hold any value. We need to store some value to the variable. What value I can store into Eng variable? Can I store iEngine Eng is equal to 10? Can I store 10 like this? No. What value I can store into Eng variable now? What value I can store into Eng variable now? What value I can store? Object. Which object? Either petrol engine or diesel engine. So with this, can I say car is dependent on engine? Guys, with this, can I say car is dependent on engine? Yes, car is dependent on the engine. So we need to inject engine object into car class. That is called dependency injection. The process of injecting one class object into another class is called as dependency injection. We can perform dependency injection in 3 ways. We can perform dependency injection in 3 ways. Sir, what are those 3 ways? One is setter injection. Second one is constructor injection. And the third one is field injection. Understand my point, guys? So what is dependency injection? The process of injecting one class object into another class is called as dependency injection. Forget about Spring framework. We did not enter into the Spring example. We are understanding the fundamentals of the Spring. So dependency injection. The process of injecting one class object into another class is called as dependency injection. So here car class is available. Car class is dependent on the engine. So engine object should be available for the car. Then car can start the engine and it can start the driving. Okay, so here, how many ways we can perform the dependency injection? We can perform dependency injection in 3 ways. What are the 3 ways to perform the dependency injection? One is by using setter injection. Another one is by using constructor injection. Third one is by using field injection. Sir, what is the meaning of setter injection? So whatever the variable we have, for this variable, we can create one setter method. Public void set eng iEngine eng. Now this dot, see here, I'm writing one method, setter method for the variable. Eng variable is there. For the eng variable, I'm writing one setter method. What is the purpose of this setter method? This setter method is used to set the value for this variable. So what is the purpose of setter method in the Java? Setter method is used to set the value for the variable. This setter method is expecting engine object as a parameter. So what this engine is a interface, right? Interface reference variable. Interface reference variable can hold any implementation class object. So you can call that setter method. You can call that setter method by passing petrol engine object or diesel engine object. Whatever the engine object I will get as a parameter for this method, that value I will store into current class variable. How? This dot eng is equal to eng. Okay, guys. So I'm writing a setter method. So if you are using setter method to set the value for this variable, then it is called as setter injection. This is one way to inject dependent object into target object. My car is the target class. Engine is dependent for the car. Engine object I'm injecting into car class by using setter method. That is called setter injection. The process of injecting, if you are setter injection means injecting the dependent object into target object using setter method. Setter injection. How I am injecting? Car is dependent on engine. Car is dependent on engine. Now see here. The process of injecting one class object into another class is called as dependency injection. We can perform dependency injection in 3 ways. One is setter injection, and the second one is constructor injection, and the third one is field injection. Okay, what is the setter injection? Before going to understand this, let us see with the example. Let us see with the example. Okay, in the above program, car class is dependent on engine. In the above program, car class is dependent on engine object. Engine object. That means engine object. That means engine class object should be injected into car class. Okay, car is dependent on engine. What I can say? Car is dependent on engine. Car class is dependent on engine. That means engine class object should be injected into car. Car is dependent on engine. How many ways we can do that? In 3 ways. In 3 ways, engine class object can be injected into car class. If we are injecting one class object into another class, then that is called as dependency injection. The process of injecting one class object into another class is called as dependency injection. Okay, now you see I created a setter method. Now go to main class. I created car object, car dot set engine new petrol engine, like this. I creating target object, creating target object, injecting dependent object into target through setter. This is called setter injection. Here I'm creating car class object. Then in the car, engine is required. So I'm injecting engine object into car by calling setter method. So this is called as setter injection. So what is the setter injection? So if we are injecting dependent object into target object using setter method, then that is called setter injection. Okay. So what is a setter injection? Guys, without understanding these concepts, understanding the Spring framework is very difficult. Before entering into the Spring only, I'm clarifying the fundamental concepts of the Spring. What is a dependency injection and how many ways we can do the dependency injection. One class depends on another class without creating the object, without inheriting the properties. One class wants to talk to another class. My car wants to talk to engine without creating the object and without extending the properties. So I want loosely coupling among the classes. To achieve that loosely coupling, I am using interface. So this interface reference variable can hold implementation class object. How many ways we can initialize this variable now? This variable can be initialized by using a setter method that is called setter injection. This variable can be initialized by using a constructor that is called as constructor injection. Directly we can initialize the variable also, that is called as a field injection. If we are injecting the dependent object into target object through setter method, that is called as a setter injection. Or else you can do like this also. You can write the car class constructor and you can take a parameter for the constructor, and in the constructor also you can initialize the variable. Okay, so this is one way to initialize the eng variable. This is another way to initialize the eng variable. If we are using this setter method to initialize the eng, initializing the eng means storing the engine class object so that a drive method can start the engine. If we are using this setter method to inject the engine into car, that process is called as a setter injection. No, I don't want to go for the setter. I will go for the constructor only. At the time of car object creating, I will pass the engine object as a parameter. So if you are injecting the dependent object into target through constructor, then that is called as constructor injection. So here you can initialize this variable by calling this setter method, or you can initialize this variable by calling this constructor. If you initialize this variable through this setter method, that is called as setter injection. If you initialize this variable through constructor, that is called as constructor injection. Are you guys clear? Are you guys clear with what is a setter injection and what is a constructor injection? Yes. Setter injection means injecting dependent object into target object using target class setter method. What is the setter injection, guys? Setter injection means injecting dependent object into target object using target class setter method. So this is the one of the example for this. Remove this constructor. Okay. Here, whatever the logic you want, you can do it. That's not important. You understand this example? Car class is available. Car is having engine variable. I want to initialize this variable before calling the drive method. To initialize that variable, I am taking a setter method for the variable. Setter method is expecting engine object. Whichever the engine object will come to that setter method as a parameter, that object I am storing into current class variable. This dot eng is equal to eng. This eng represents method, this method parameter. This dot eng represents current class instance variable. So this is one way to inject dependent object into target object. This is called setter injection. Now see here, I'm creating the target class object and I'm injecting the dependent object into target through setter method. All right, run as Java application. Now see, can I say I performed dependency injection? Can I say I have injected petrol engine into car object? Can I say that I have injected petrol engine into car? Guys, understand that petrol engine object injected into car through setter method. Can we call it as a setter injection now? Can we call this concept as a setter injection now? Come on. Can we call this concept as a setter injection now? Yes. So what is a setter injection? Setter injection means injecting the dependent object into target object using target class setter method. Using target class setter method is called as setter injection. Is called as setter injection. Okay. So now, can you tell me what is a constructor injection? Can you guys tell me then what is a constructor injection now? Can we do constructor injection also? Can we do constructor injection also? Yeah, main class, we are using main class just for testing purpose. That's it. Main class we are using for testing purpose. You no need to say that, sir, main class and car is tightly coupled. No, tomorrow we are going to change this logic with the Spring. Now think about car and engine. Car and engine are tightly coupled. Car and engine are loosely coupled. Car and engine tightly coupled are loosely coupled. Car and engine are loosely coupled. Car and engine are loosely coupled. Are you clear? Yes. So we have seen setter injection. What is a constructor injection? What is a constructor injection? Now, if I write a constructor for the class and if I take engine like this dot eng is equal to eng. So if I initialize this variable, through constructor, then that is called constructor injection. Okay, new diesel engine, creating target object, Now see, so I'm creating the car. At the time of creating the car, the constructor will be called, that constructor is expecting dependent object. Car is expecting engine. So whenever I'm creating the car object, I'm passing engine object. Okay, so car constructor will take diesel engine as a parameter. Diesel engine is one of the implementation for the engine interface. Whatever the diesel engine object we are getting as a constructor parameter, that diesel engine object will be initialized to this variable. So now whenever we execute this, diesel engine object will be injected into car. Diesel engine started. Diesel engine object is injected. So now, am I doing setter injection or am I doing constructor injection, guys? If you see the main method, you will understand. I am performing the setter injection or I am performing the constructor injection. I'm performing the setter injection or I am performing the constructor injection. Constructor injection. What is the constructor injection? Constructor injection means injecting dependent object into target object using target class constructor. Okay, so what is a constructor injection? Constructor injection means injecting dependent object into target object using target class constructor. Using target class constructor. Constructor injection means injecting dependent object into target object using target class constructor. Okay, so now let me remove this setter method from here. So if I do like this, then it will be called as constructor injection. It will be called as constructor injection. See, constructor injection means injecting dependent object into target object using target class constructor. Car class is having a engine ENG. So ENG variable should be initialized with any one of the engine. So through this constructor, I am doing that initialization. So I'm injecting the engine object into car object through constructor. That's why it is called as constructor injection. Now if you go to main class method, now you can understand this logic. Constructor injection. Constructor injection and setter injection. Sir, if I do both setter injection and constructor injection in the program, then what will happen? Car dot set ENG new petrol engine. Okay. For the single variable, can we perform both constructor injection and setter injection? This is a constructor injection, which is called CI. This is setter injection, which is called as SI. I am passing engine object through constructor. I'm passing engine object through setter. So for the single variable, I am doing setter injection as well as constructor injection. Now tell me, when we call eng.start, which engine will start? Through constructor, I'm injecting the diesel engine. Through setter, I'm injecting petrol engine. So which engine will be injected? Which engine will be injected? Setter one or constructor one? Now tell me, output, petrol engine will start or diesel engine will start? Guys, tell me, petrol engine will start or diesel engine will start? Both will start. Huh? Both will start. Huh? Simple example. Simple example. Observe. I have taken integer a is integer a. Okay. Here I have taken a is equal to 10. Then a is equal to 20. System.out.println of a. What is the output? 20. Why 20? Why 20? What about 10? Can I say 20 is overriding the 10? Yes. We have reinitialized that variable. We have reinitialized that variable. Samjha? We have reinitialized that variable. Same thing. First, constructor will be executed. When the constructor is executed, which engine we are passing? Diesel engine. Then what constructor will do? Constructor will store diesel engine object into ENG variable. After the constructor injection, setter injection will happen. Setter injection is taking petrol engine. What setter injection will do? It will override the same variable with the petrol engine. So now diesel engine object will be available in the ENG variable, or petrol engine object will be available in the ENG variable. Diesel engine will be available or petrol engine will be available? Petrol engine will be available. That means always constructor injection will execute first. Constructor injection will execute first. Then setter injection will execute. Setter injection will override constructor injection because constructor injection is initializing the variable. Setter injection also initializing the same variable. So here first constructor injection will initialize the variable. Then setter injection will reinitialize the variable. So setter injection value will be the final value. Setter injection will override the constructor injection. You understand my point? If we perform both the setter injection and constructor injection for the variable, then setter injection will override constructor injection. Okay, guys. This is constructor injection. Injecting the dependent object into target object using constructor. Okay. Now, this is setter. Setter injection is called as SI. Constructor injection is called as CI. If we perform both the setter and constructor injection, what will happen? Can we perform both SI and CI for single variable? Yes. But setter injection will override constructor injection value. Yes, but setter injection will override constructor injection value. Constructor injection will execute first, then setter injection will execute. Can we perform both SI and CI for single variable? Yes, we can do it. There is nothing wrong. But setter injection will override constructor injection value. So I hope you got the clarity on what is the dependency injection. One class is dependent on another class. So the process of injecting one class object into another class object is called as dependency injection. That dependency injection we can perform in three ways. One is called setter injection. Second one is called constructor injection. Third one is called as field injection. Setter injection means injecting the dependent object into target object through setter method. Okay, so setter injection means example to understand dependency injection. Car is dependent on engine. Example to understand dependency injection. Car is dependent on engine. Okay, guys. In the above program, car class is dependent on engine object. That means engine class object should be injected into car class. So here we can do that in three ways, right? So one is setter injection. So what is the meaning of setter injection? Setter injection means injecting the dependent object into target object through target class setter method. Injecting dependent object into target object using target class setter method. So here setter method is available. By calling that setter method, we are injecting the dependent object. So this variable will be initialized with this value. Then we can call that method. Okay, that is called setter injection. Then what is constructor injection? Constructor injection means injecting dependent object into target object using target class constructor. Okay, car is dependent on engine. Now car will expect the engine as a constructor parameter. So here we are using a constructor to initialize the variable. That's why it is called constructor injection. In the above program, we are using a setter to initialize the variable. If you initialize the variable through setter, that is setter injection. If you initialize the variable through constructor, that is called constructor injection. Suppose if you perform both setter and constructor for the single variable, if we perform both constructor and setter for the single variable, then what will happen? Always constructor will execute first, will initialize the value. Then after setter will execute, it will reinitialize the value. So what will happen? Finally, setter injection value will be available. See, car is initializing the diesel engine. Constructor is initializing with the diesel engine, and the setter injection is initializing with the petrol engine. Finally, which engine will be available? Petrol engine started. Diesel engine injected through constructor, petrol engine injected through setter. Always setter injection will execute last. Setter injection will override the constructor injection value. Setter injection will override the constructor injection value. How you can do, sir? Vikas Kumar is asking a question. Sir, what if we reverse the sequence? First setter, then constructor. How you will call the setter method? To call the setter method, you need the car class object, right? First, you need to create the car class object. First, you need to create the car class object, because setter method is an instance method. In order to call the instance method, you need the car class object. In order to create the car class object, you need to pass the engine, because car is having only one parameterized constructor. There is no zero param constructor. There is only parameterized constructor. So in order to call the setter method, first you need to create the object for the car. In order to call the setter method, first you need to create the car object. Whenever you create the car object, you need to pass the engine, because the car is having only parameterized constructor. Got my point? Which one is better? That is a different story. We will understand that later. When to go for setter, when to go for constructor, that is a different story. Okay? Someone is asking, sir, if I keep zero param constructor and if I call setter method, then setter injection will execute first. Na? Suppose you have zero param constructor and you have parameterized constructor. Then instead of creating this object, then simply you will create object with this and you will call the setter. Then setter injection will happen. Constructor injection will not happen, right? Because you created a zero param constructor. You created a zero param constructor. You created a parameterized constructor. Now car class object you are creating with a zero param constructor. With a zero param constructor, you are not doing anything. It is just a dummy constructor. It is just a dummy constructor. So it is used to just create the dummy object. Then after you need to call the setter method, then only setter injection will happen. Constructor injection will not happen. If you call the constructor with parameter, then only constructor injection will happen. If you call this constructor, then just object will be created, nothing will happen. Okay. Yes, perfect. Next one. Sir, what about annotations? Annotations, we will come to that later, guys. Am I explaining Spring? Am I explaining fundamentals? Guys, did we enter into the Spring? Did I create a Spring project? No. No. Spring project is not created. Spring project is not created, guys. We are just understanding the fundamentals to start our journey with the Spring. Akila, how you will use the setter method first, madam? If you want to call the setter method, first you need to create the car object now. How can you use the setter injection first? If you want to use the setter injection first, you need to call the setter method. How to call the setter method? You need object of this class, right? You need to create the object by using constructor. So always you need to do constructor injection first. If you want to do the setter injection, how you will call this method outside? You need to call this method to perform the setter injection. To call this method, you need object of this class. If you want to create object of this class, constructor injection will happen. Okay, you cannot do setter injection directly without creating the object for the target class. You cannot perform the setter injection directly without creating object for the car class. Okay. So setter method can't be static. No, that's not a good practice. We don't make setter methods as static methods. We don't make setter methods as static methods. Setter methods and getter methods should be instance methods. To set the value, to get the value. Understood all of you? What is dependency injection? What is a setter injection? And what is constructor injection? Now, can you guess what is a field injection now? Can you guess what is field injection? What is a field injection, guys? What is field injection? Initializing the variable directly. Injecting the object into variable directly, that is called field injection. Initializing the variable directly is called as field injection. Injecting the dependent object into target object using target class variable is called as field injection. Okay. Yeah, it's very important. Field injection FI. Field injection, which is FI. Injecting dependent object into target object using target class variable is called as field injection. Field injection means injecting dependent object into target class using target class variable is called as field injection. Guys, observe carefully. Next 10 minutes is very important session. Next 10 minutes is very important session and mind-blowing session. Very important. Okay. So field injection. What is the meaning of a field injection? Field injection means injecting dependent object into target class using target class variable is called as field injection. Okay, I will remove this setter method. I will remove this constructor. Got it? I'm removing. Are you clear with the setter method and constructor? Can I remove them? I already gave the examples in the notes also. You can refer. For the constructor, you will write a constructor here. For the setter, you will write a setter method here. Okay, guys. Now I'm removing this setter and constructor. Okay. Okay. Now here I have a car. Car class is dependent on engine. For engine, there is a variable. For engine, there is a variable. Okay. Now, if I want to drive the car, car should start the engine. Okay. So this eng variable should be initialized with the engine. Eng variable should be initialized with the engine. Do we have setter method to initialize? Do we have setter method to initialize? No. Do we have constructor to initialize? No. There is no setter method. There is no constructor to initialize the variable. Now, this variable is a private. Can we access private variables outside of the class, or can I directly go like this? Car C is equal to new car C dot eng is equal to new diesel engine. Okay. C dot drive. Can I do like this? Can I do like this? No. Why I cannot do like this? I'm able to create the object. I'm able to call the drive method. But am I able to access eng variable? No. Why? Because eng variable is a private variable. Private variables we can access only within the class, not outside. Private variables we can access only within the class, not outside. Are you clear? Private variables we can access only within the class, not outside. Now I will do the magic. Now I will do the magic. Okay. Come on, guys. Reflection API. See here, car.class.new instance. Car.class.new instance. I'm going to use reflection API. Okay. How we will do that? Class dot for name. Class dot for name. In dot Ashok IT dot car. I'm going to get the class. Okay, guys. Class dot get declared field. What is the field? ENG. What is the field, guys? ENG. Okay. I got the ENG field. ENG field dot set accessible to true. That's it. Whatever the private variable is available in the class, I'm loading this class into JVM by using class.forName. Then once we got that class object, class.get a declared field of engine. Get a declared field of engine. That means I'm loading the car class. Inside the car class, there is a field called ENG. I'm loading that field by using get declared field. That field is a private field. That field I am making as accessible outside of the class also. Once that is accessible outside of the class also, now let us see class.new instance. I got the object. I got the object. That object I will change to car object is equal to car of object. I'm doing the typecasting. I'm doing the typecasting. Now let us see. Let us see ENG field dot set. ENG field dot set car object of value new diesel engine. Now car object dot drive. Now let us see here, guys. I have done some magic. Right. Run as Java application. Am I able to inject the engine? Am I able to inject the engine through variable directly? Is there any setter method available for the variable? Is there any constructor available for the variable? No. Without setter method, without constructor, I initialized this variable with the diesel engine object. When I call the drive method, diesel engine is started. You can see the output. Right click, run as Java application. Diesel engine started. Here, I injected the diesel engine into car class using variable directly. This is called field injection. So now I am able to initialize the private variable from outside of the class also by using reflection API. If you do like this, this is called as field injection. Understand my point? First, I am loading the class by using class.forName. Once I use the class.forName, I'm giving the fully qualified class name. I got the class. This is java.lang.class. Class.forName, which is used to load the class into JVM. It is used to load the class into JVM. I'm using class.forName. The class is loaded. Once the class is loaded, reflection API I am using here. Class.getDeclared field. I want to load the field whose name is ENG. That means I'm loading a variable whose name is ENG. This variable I accessed by using reflection. Once I access that variable, I'm setting that variable set accessible to true. So ENG variable I got as a field object. field dot set accessibility to true. That means this variable we can access from outside of the class also. Once I set the field as accessible to true, whatever the class I loaded, for that class I have created the object by using class dot new instance. So we have created object. We have created object. Whatever the object we created by using new instance method, that object I have typecasted into car class object. Guys, in the interview, they will ask you how many ways we can create object for a class in the Java. How many ways we can create object for a class in the Java? One is by using new operator. Second one is by using new instance method. Third one is by using cloning. Fourth one is by using deserialization. Like that, there are multiple ways available to create object for a class in the Java. Okay, guys, there are multiple ways to create the object. So now here I am using new instance method to create object for the class, right? Class dot new instance. I got the object. That object I typecasted to car. Then I got the field, right? I got the field. Now field dot set. Field dot set. Now what is the meaning of a field dot set? Set method is used to set the value to the variable from outside. Field, eng field is representing by this variable. Eng field dot set car object and value. Which value you want to set for that variable? That is a second parameter. For that variable, I want to set the diesel engine object. Okay, so field dot set class object comma value for the variable. So here, when I call this a set method, this variable will be initialized with the diesel engine object. For example, if I remove the diesel engine and if I use a petrol engine, petrol engine object will be initialized to that variable. Petrol engine started. Here I am doing injecting value to variable. Injecting value to variable. So this is called as field injection. So once this injection is completed, I'm calling drive method. When I call the drive method, already this variable is initialized with the petrol engine. So petrol engine dot start. Petrol engine started. That is the output we are getting. So two things here. First one is we understood what is a field injection, and the second thing is we are able to access private variables from outside of the class. We are able to access private variables from outside of the class. Guys, are you clear with the field injection? How many of you don't know that we can access private variables outside of the class? How many of you don't know that we can access private variables outside of the class? Seshank Reddy don't know. Alok don't know. Satish, Vijay Reddy, Pankaj, Manoj, Kagendra, Pradeep. Oh, so many people are there. Yeah. From now, if anybody asks you, can we access private variables outside of the class? What is your answer? Yes, with reflection API. With reflection API. All these three concepts which we discussed today, setter injection, constructor injection, field injection, very, very, very important to understand our Spring Core module. Okay, guys. Yes. Field injection. I hope you enjoyed this question today. Actually, yesterday I thought of explaining this concept, but yesterday network was not good. So I canceled that class yesterday because due to bad network, several times I will disconnect and you will lose that interest if the voice is not coming. So that's why I canceled the class yesterday. Yep. Guys, are you clear? What is field injection? Initializing the variable directly. So the process of injecting dependent object into target object using target class variable directly. That is called field injection. Someone is asking, sir, how are you getting the return type automatically for the method? I'm using a shortcut, man. See, here I'm calling the new instance method. I'm getting the return type automatically by using a shortcut. Control+1 enter is the shortcut. Okay, what is the shortcut? Control+1 plus enter. With this shortcut, I'm getting the method return type automatically. Got it? I will share one video where I have explained Eclipse shortcuts. In our channel, I explained Eclipse shortcuts. I have explained top 20 Eclipse shortcut keys. So I will share this video. Please go through that video to understand what are the shortcuts I'm using while writing the code. Okay, so this video I will share. This is very, very useful video for you people. When you are writing the code, if you use these shortcuts, then you can do more work in the less time. Yep. Did you guys get the video link? Did you guys get the video link? Yes. Fine. So you understand what is dependency injection? You understand what is dependency injection? The process of injecting one class object into another class is called as dependency injection. We can perform the dependency injection in three ways. One is by using setter injection. Second one is by using constructor injection. Third one is by using field injection. Guys, today's agenda to understand what is dependency injection, not to decide which one is better. Which one is better, that we will discuss in the upcoming sessions. Okay, first understand the concept. Okay, we can perform dependency injection in three ways. One is a setter injection, second one is a constructor injection, third one is a field injection. Okay, example to understand the dependency injection. Yes, we understood. Setter injection, injecting the dependent object into target object using target class setter method. Constructor injection, injecting dependent object into target object using target class constructor. Field injection, injecting the dependent object into target object using target class variable is called as field injection. We can access private variables outside of the class using reflection API. We can access private variables outside of the class using reflection API. We can access private variables outside of the class using reflection API like below. We can access private variables outside of the class using reflection API like below. To perform the field injection, we are using reflection API. To perform field injection, we are using reflection API. That's it for today, guys. So this is very, 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 very important session. What is dependency injection? What is a setter injection? What is constructor injection? And what is field injection? Good. Now I'm open for questions. So anybody having any doubts, now you can ask now. You can unmute your mic. You can ask your questions.
Hi, sir.
Yeah, hello.
This is Srinivas, sir.
Yeah, hi, Srinivas.
Sir, instead of using reflection API, if we directly initialize that petrol engine or diesel engine inside the car class, then it is called tightly coupling, no, sir?
Correct, correct.
That's it. But one more thing is,
here if you directly say that as a petrol engine, so you are doing field injection only, but the problem is car is directly creating the object, that is tightly coupled. We are not creating the object inside the class. We are doing the initialization from outside.
Yes, yes, sir. Understood, sir. And
so that car and engine are loosely coupled. Yeah.
One more doubt, sir. But if we are using reflection API, is it not that we are violating the fundamental principles
Yes,
of
we are.
object-oriented programming?
We are violating the OOPS principles. Yes, in this scenario, we are violating the OOPS. Even Spring also will do the same thing when we go for field injection. Spring framework also will violate the OOPS principles when you go for field injection. It is not
Okay.
recommended, but there is an option available.
Okay, thank you.
Very good.
Sir, my question was in the same regarding it's already violating the OOPS concept, but I just want to understand, using this reflection API thing, anyone can access my private variable, but doesn't this is this a security issue? If
We can say there is a security issue. This reflection API, it is not suggestible to use in our programming. Basically, reflection API will be used to develop IDEs and all. Now, whenever we keep dot, what happening? All the methods we are accessing, right? How these methods are displaying auto suggestions are coming in the background. Reflection API is used. Reflection API is used to develop the softwares, develop the IDEs, not for our regular programming.
Okay, understood, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, right. Auto suggestions that we are getting in the IDE because of the reflection API only.
For those methods is using the reflection API. Those are the methods is displayed, so we can get the security issues also, right?
Yes, there is reflection API, both advantages are there and disadvantages are there.
Okay. And my question is coming to outside. So you will cover the Spring and Hibernate also, right? When we go with the Spring Boot and microservices.
No, sir. I have given the course content document. Please go through that. You will understand what we are going to cover.
Yeah, okay, that's it.
Yeah.
Hi, sir.
Hello.
So this is topic outside, sir. How can we, sir, improve our, sir, coding skill?
How to improve coding skill? You need to practice more. वो धीरे धीरे आएगा भाई, एक दिन से नहीं होगा.
वही सर.
Hello, sir.
Next question.
Yes, sir. Sir, what about interface injection and method injection?
We'll come to that in the Spring classes. Okay. Just today is the basic fundamental concepts of what is dependency injection. That's it.
Okay, sir.
Which one is better and where to use which one? Those things are future topics for us. Today, it's just a fundamental. What is dependency injection? What is a setter injection? What is constructor injection? What is field injection? That's it. So once we start the Spring, then I will compare all the three and I will tell you which one is better, when to go for which injection.
Yes, sir. Sir, interface and method injection also used in real case. No?
Very less.
Okay, sir.
Mostly people will prefer either constructor injection or field injection.
Okay, thank you.
Fine, guys. Thank you. With this, I'm stopping for today. We'll continue.
One last thing, sir. Like, do we need to know more about reflection API, or it's not necessary? How it is?
No, not required.
Okay.
Because
Thank
we
you.
don't use that in the real time.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Good night. We'll see you in the tomorrow session. Please go through that Eclipse shortcuts video. I will share in the group as well. I will upload the class notes in the portal. You can practice it before coming to tomorrow's session. See you tomorrow.